Danke den 3 Nominierten in der Kategorie Hightech, Biotech und Biotech. Und wir werden morgen erfahren, wer von den 3 gewinnt. Falls Sie sich für internationale Business News interessieren, und ich nehme jetzt mal schwer an, das tun Sie, dann ist unser nächster Gesprächspartner, unser nächster Gast Ihnen sicher ein Begriff. Er ist seit vielen Jahrzehnten das Gesicht und die Stimme bei CNN, wenn es darum geht, eben über Wirtschaftsthemen zu berichten. Er moderiert nicht nur eine, sondern mehrere Sendungen. Quest Means Business, Markets Now, The Express oder auch die Reisesendung Quest's World of Wonder. Und ich muss sagen, ich freue mich sehr, denn er gilt als sehr interessanter und amüsanter Gesprächspartner. A warm applause for Richard Quest.
Oh.
Welcome to Internet.
I feel like a dinosaur.
Why is that?
Well, I'm going to be 60 this year.
You don't look like 60.
You're too kind. But I listened to the social influencer very carefully. And she's absolutely right in everything she said. And I could feel other people in this room grasping on to what she said for dear life. It reminds me of my grandparents when they used to learn how to work the remote control on the television. And you could always tell they didn't know what they were doing because the clock still flashed. Anyway, so I shall be talking to her afterwards to get some tips.
But listen, I looked at your Twitter account just a short moment ago, and it was like a bit, you're not that into it, I think.
What?
Your Twitter account.
All right, so we'll get on to more important things. My boss has described Twitter as career killer.
Okay.
Because more than one person has been caught drunk while tweeting. And nothing will get rid of you faster. And I like my privacy.
Listen,
And they're not going to pay me $5,000 a tweet. But if somebody here will pay me $5,000 a tweet, I'll tweet.
Me too.
In fact, if somebody... No, carry on. Let's talk about economics.
I read an article in a Swiss newspaper. You gave an interview like 1.5 years ago in January, just before the whole thing started. And in the interview, you quoted the former British Prime Minister, Harold Macmillan, who said, "Events, dear boy, events." So let me quote it right back to you.
Yes, you've got to get it right. Events, dear boy, events.
Exactly.
Look, the biggest issue we now have is we don't know. And that's
I thought you would know.
And that's not a version of Donald Rumsfeld's we don't know what we don't know, we know what we don't know, no, don't we know it. We don't know. And those people who will succeed now are those people who have managed to accommodate that mindset. All right? It's really that straightforward. Because everything we thought we understood has gone right out of the window. If you had told me 18 months ago that we would be working from home, we would be wearing masks just about everywhere, but then we wouldn't be wearing masks, and then we'd start wearing masks again, and then we might wear masks. And if you told me all of this, and that nobody from Europe, unless you've got a green card or a citizen or a spouse thereof, can go to the United States, I'd have said you should be in an asylum. And I'd have been right to say that, because nobody could have forecast this, but those who have managed to adapt, they are the ones who will succeed in the next round.
Who are those people? Do you know it? Which country maybe is the best prepared? Which region in the world is the best?
Put the lights on, please. Bring the lights up. Come on, house lights. Who are these people? That's who they are. They are the people who have got up this morning, decided to come to this conference. They are the people who are employing people, have kept in business. How many of you are still in business?
Hands up.
Right, they are the ones who are succeeding. Right, turn the lights down. I don't need to see that much success. The reality is, though, what happens next?
Yes.
Okay, and that's where it gets really complicated, because we don't know. Now, assuming that's your starting point, if you're talking about the financial world, it is the chase for yield. Low interest rates, monetary stimulus, fiscal stimulus, the Fed tapering towards the end of the year. I know there are people in this room who want me to say what to invest in tomorrow.
Yes, that's what, I mean, that would be a question of mine. What?
Yeah, well, do you really think if I knew the answer to that, I'd be sitting here? No, I mean, but the chase for yield is what this is now about in terms of the financial markets, and how you forecast in a low yield environment where we know rates are going to go up. But the stock market will continue. There is absolutely no reason why the stock market should collapse overnight. I mean, could it? Yes. Would it be perverse to say so? Absolutely. So that's your first group. Your second group are more important. They are the people in this room who are running businesses. They are manufacturing. They are employing people. They are the ones who've had to deal with Brexit at the same time as dealing with COVID, at the same time as working from home and hybrid. What happens next is that they have to continue to adapt. And I realize that's a cop-out answer. I know that. But if you can I'll finish on this. If you can mentally, you've got commitment, you've got resilience, and you've got adaptability. If you have got those three together, you will succeed in the next round.
But people are also tired, of the pandemic. Like you said, there were so much challenges for entrepreneurs.
Because we didn't tell ourselves one thing. We never told ourselves it's okay not to be okay. And particularly middle-aged businessmen like me battled on till the point of nervous breakdown. The reality is, firstly, as long as central banks continue to print money, we're okay. Secondly, as long as the economies remain firm, not, let's say, solid, producing things, trade continues. Do you realize global trade is almost back to where it was? In fact, it's greater in most cases. Chatting to the CEO of Maersk in Copenhagen, they can't get ships enough. They cannot move the stuff far and fast enough. So that tells us that things are okay. But remember, this is not an economic crisis. It's a health crisis where the economy will get dragged in. And there's one thing also to remember, which you'll know very well here in Switzerland. The reason that this is not 2008 over again, the reason why is, number one, pent-up demand. We closed down for a year, now everybody's roaring back up. Who's bought something online in the last 24 hours? Put your hand up. There we go. Secondly, in 2008, the rot was in the banking system. This time, the banks were strong, largely because of the wisdom of what we put in place post-2008.
Exactly. Yes.
If we had screwed that up, and we did to a certain extent, which is why we got a sclerotic growth from, say, 15, 16, 17, 18. But if we'd really got it bad, and we had the same problems in the banking system now that we had then, we'd be in a much worse state.
Listen, we have a question from the audience.
Go on.
Someone who wanted to know, what's the one superpower for leaders to reach new horizons faster?
What's the one superpower? Well, how many superpowers have we got? Is Russia a superpower? Just shout out yes or no. Is Russia a superpower? Well, that's that one answered. Is the United States a superpower? All right, and I know how this is going to end. Is China a superpower?
Yeah, let's talk about China. Let's talk about the US.
All right. So Xi Jinping is probably the most powerful president of China since arguably Deng Xiaoping and arguably Mao. And we have seen in the last few months, last few weeks, the way in which they are clamping down on digital companies, the digital economy, and we in the West tend to think, oh no, they don't like it because they have IPO'd on the New York Stock Exchange. And people get terribly excited by Didi and Alibaba and the like, but that's nothing to do with this. This is about control. It's about control, and it's about building a more secure economy in their eyes. And so they're not going to watch all their big companies go up in flames because they've been attacked in some shape or another. Let's talk about which president is best for China.
I mean, former President Donald Trump, he stood up to China in quite he was quite, he decided to stood up.
And great. He stood up for against China in a classic Depression-era form of tariffs. But did they work? No. But did everybody know where they stood?
Yes.
Yes. And always remember the old rule. It's easier to put a tariff on than take it off. Tariffs, once on, stay, unless it's with the EU, for example. But by and large, we've still got tariffs in terms of trucks going to the US that have been there since the 1950s. However, what's Joe Biden's policy for China?
The same.
Well, not really. He's kept it in place because it's easier to do that at the moment. But it is noticeable that during all his statements post-withdrawal in Afghanistan and during the recent crisis, all Biden's statements have said the same thing. The US needs to stop fighting wars and concentrate on the battles of tomorrow, which he describes every single time China. Whether it's cybersecurity, malware, ransomware. I was watching very closely to some of the awards, potential nominees. Whether it's that, whether it's hegemony in terms of the South China Sea, whether it's the relationship of digital economy. So the US president, even in the midst of Afghanistan's horror, is talking China. That tells you all you need to know.
But in recent months, the Chinese stock exchange, they have fallen sharply, while the US stock exchange is doing well. So maybe it's not that bad how he's managing.
Oh, look, I've crossed my legs.
Why is that?
Because if you hit me there, in the right place, I will do that. Right? We're all familiar with that. Hit it, whoa, there we go. Same with stock markets. Taper, announce that you're going to do something against digital economies. Change the policy the next time. And that's what's happening at the moment. Anybody who believes that, the Chinese stock market has fallen. Well, it's got Hong Kong to worry about. It's got belligerents in the South China Sea. It's got a Taiwan policy that really could be extremely bellicose and extremely dangerous. And it's got greater unrest against the current administration. And we always think of China as being, pull the lever in Beijing and 1,000 miles away people will fall. Not a bit of it. Not a bit of it. It is so decentralized in terms of control in many cases. And what he's doing is he's bringing it all back together to himself. The president, the Congress is doing all that. So, yes, I do not know anyone on Wall Street who does not believe that there is a China play to be had in an investment portfolio. If you want to choose the next .com du jour, well, good luck, because you might miss.
So if someone in here, an entrepreneur, wants to do business in China?
No, if an entrepreneur in here, rephrase the question, you said if an entrepreneur in here wants to do business?
Yes, with China.
Any entrepreneur in here doesn't want to, they are gagging to. Every entrepreneur in here, particularly if it's a consumer good, cannot wait to do business in China. The problem is twofold. One, have you got the balls to do it? Two, do you mind if they're chopped off and then replaced?
Wow.
And three, how many of your own personal values are you prepared to flush down the toilet to do it?
Exactly. So
Now, there is a strong argument that would say you are not an entrepreneur if you aren't prepared to at least start juggling with those three. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. You know, that is the nature of entrepreneurial activity. But do not for any moment believe, I mean, if you want to do business in China, you've got to be there in the sense, particularly if you look, I mean, the percentage of GDP, fine, I know everyone talks about it being the second largest economy after the United States, but actually GDP per capita, it's still way down there.
Yes.
But that's where the growth is. And I think if anybody who's looked at the new Silk Road, Belt and Road. Yeah, well, ask Sri Lanka about Belt and Road. Ask all those places that thought they were going to get great investment, and they were going to get, but actually all China did was import large numbers of workers to do the work for them. But it's easy to be cynical or skeptical, whatever you want, when the reality is, and this is something I think people do not understand about politics and geopolitics. I think it was Kissinger and it was maybe Churchill. Well, you can always use them interchangeably, can't you? I mean, if one didn't say it, the other did, and who's going to prove you wrong anyway? You don't make peace with your friends. And that's what it is where it comes to China. You have to do business with them. And the entrepreneurs in here know that full well. Any more?
yes, I heard you like to draw on chalkboards. I think we have a chalkboard.
I don't see a chalkboard. Too late.
Bring in the chalk. Yeah, there it comes.
All right.
So someone told me you used to.
Yeah, at Davos.
You have to help me.
All right.
So we're not in Davos, we're in Interlaken.
Yeah,
just, you can just, please.
You want me to get rid of somebody else's work?
Yes.
Ruthless. All right, let me tell you about travel.
That's how we do it. Now, listen, the guys who use the chalkboards today, they teach us about decision-making types. So we have different decision-making types. So I'd like to know what kind of decision-making type are you? Maybe you could draw it. If it's not too difficult.
What sort of decision maker am I?
Yeah.
Am I the ruthless type? Am I the timid type? Am I the soul that never wants to make a decision at all?
The more annoying ones. Is this you?
Let me tell you about you. I've got 1 minute to tell you about you. This is you. And at the moment, you are conflicted in every different way you can possibly imagine. How many of you want to go on holiday? How many of you want to go on holiday? How many of you been on holiday? How many of you were terrified to death when you went on holiday? That's us at the moment. It's all of us at the moment. We are in this position as decision makers where we're not sure what to do. We know one thing, and that is to do nothing is the worst thing. And so we wait, we watch, and we remember that uncertainty is the new normal. Do we have a psychologist in the room who can now take me backstage and do a bit of analysis?
Thank you. Richard Quest. You are